And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at South Middle School. We're joined by a young lady by the name of Brooklyn Hampton. Brooklyn, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about your day here. What are some of your favorite classes?
Math and robotics.
Robotics. Tell us a little bit about, can you share with us what robotics is about?
We get to build mechanisms that work on their own and that we can control.
And do you like that?
Yes.
Okay. Was it hard to learn, or?
Well, I'm still learning about it, but it was somewhat hard, but not too hard.
Sure. When we ask you to take a look at your day, what's that like?
To see how it's been and see if it's been good.
So you've got robotics. What are some of your other classes that have made a big impact on you, ma'am?
Science.
And what about science do you like?
How I learn new stuff about our Earth and our body.
Right. Well, you have a favorite teacher?
No, I like them all.
Really? And
yes.
7th grade, that's quite a big step. After that, you're getting ready for high school, and then after that, what are you thinking about doing? I know it's early, but you seem very, very focused.
I want to either be a teacher or a dentist.
So you'll be going to college?
Yes.
Right. Why dentistry?
I don't know. I've always wanted to be a dentist when I was little.
Right, as opposed to right now.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the dentist. Do you like to go to the dentist?
Sometimes.
Now, be truthful.
Sometimes.
Okay. Because if you're going to be a dentist, people are going to want to come see you, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a teacher, what type of teacher would you like to be?
Elementary.
Really? You're pretty quick on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about elementary education do you like? Just the kids, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. Well, what other activities do you do besides school? Do you?
After school, I did soccer, and then I do basketball. I did cross country. I'm going to do cheer, track, and ski team.
Now, how do you fit all this in with going to school? That seems like a full-time job. The running, the cheering, the skiing. How do you fit this in? What's your secret of time management?
After school, I go to basketball.
Yeah. And soccer.
Well, soccer is more like in the summer and spring and like fall.
Right. Okay. Well, anything else you'd like to share with us? You've done a great job so far. I'm trying to think of any questions. Have I missed any questions? Is there anything that you've prepared for that you'd like to talk about to the listening audience here?
No.
No? All right, then. Well, we appreciate you and thank you. You've done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. What an outstanding young lady. Brooklyn Hampton joining us here in 7th grade on KIDO Talk Radio with the latest on some of the coaching carousels. Let's take a listen to KIDO
With
Talk
Scott
Radio.
Frost taking over as head coach at Nebraska next season, UCF hired former Heisman hopeful and Missouri offensive coordinator Josh Heupel to be their new head coach.
It's really a fulfillment of a dream of being able to be the head football coach at a university where you have a chance to compete for championships and play on the biggest stages year in and year out.
Heupel, though, will not coach the Knights for the upcoming Peach Bowl. Frost will be on the sidelines for that New Year's Six game against Auburn. UCF not the only Florida school finding a new man to helm their program. Florida State is set to hire Willie Taggart as their replacement for Jimbo Fisher. Taggart leaving Oregon after 1 year as head coach of the Ducks. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
And by the way, we predicted that yesterday. That story available at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Let's go back to the phones and go to Liberal Steve. Good morning, sir. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
And what a fine morning it is. D- in algebra, Miller.
I think I had to take that a couple times.
Come on, man. That now
I think
know
I was
what's
a
wrong with
perennial algebra. I think I took pre-algebra like 7 times. Algebra 1 a couple, and then I think I made it to Algebra 2, and I was in the Slappy class for trig. And that's why
Slappy, they don't have Slappy classes for trig either.
Yeah, it was a Slappy. I had like the mean teacher for trig, and they put us in. You know, you had levels where I went to high school. You had level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 4 were the advanced. Level 3 were the regular folks. I think I took level 2 trig and barely made it out of that, and that's why I'm blessed to be with you, because I took Algebra 1 and pre-algebra like 7 times, and the bad trig. So, kids, if you want to follow suit and have a life of talking to liberal Steve, don't pay attention to trig.
Logic, dude. Algebra is all about logic, so now we know that you don't have any logic.
I see.
What's with Cindy this morning, going after a upstanding citizen like Mueller, and because of what's happening with Flynn. Flynn has admittedly said he's done wrong in all his comments, and he actually feels ashamed of himself and beside himself for what he did, and let his family down, let himself down, let his country down. I mean, he's admitted all that, and now Mueller's a bad guy for going
You know,
after
I
people.
like the German pronunciation, but it's Mueller.
And what's with Bannon up there for more? I mean, if he looks, I'm sorry to say, but he looks like a fallen down alcoholic. I mean, somebody probably had to prop him up to get up there on stage.
Why do you personally attack people? I mean, it's one thing to disagree with someone.
Look at. I mean, come on, look at the guy. He's disheveled. His hair's a mess. He needs a shave, and he's supposed to be in rehab for drinking. I mean, come on.
I've never read that, number one. And number two, what's wrong with looking disheveled? I wear that very well.
You do. I'll have to admit that. But going after Mitt Romney because of his Vietnam-era thing, I mean, that's like going after the president for all his deferrals on health reasons. I mean, who cares? Who really cares why they got out?
I think down there they do.
Oh, why do you keep saying down there? That's America down there. That's your neighbors. That's U.S. citizens. That's not a different world down there.
It is a different world, brother. I have many friends down there.
They still have X-rated outdoor theaters down there for such a high Sunbelt Christian territory. I mean, outside every
When's the last time you were in Alabama?
Oh God, I think I went there with my parents.
Right, I was there 3 years ago, so I think my reference is a little better. Liberal Steve, once again, we so appreciate the insight that you've given us this morning.
So they're still backwards, you're saying?
We so appreciate the insight, and thank you very much for listening and calling in at KIDO Talk Radio.
Remember to tie your laces twice.
Thank you for the call. Have a great day. Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO, and this is the Jazz Band. We are at South Middle School in Nampa, courtesy of CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru, and I really like this. I don't know if we can bring these guys to the broadcast center every day, but it is something unique, and props to the faculty for doing this. This is the first time we've had, kind of a concert in the background, but anything to wake us up on Wednesday, right? Phone number's here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. When we do promote our schools, secure our future, our 10th season, and getting ready in the spring or maybe even as early as February this year, we'll be starting our 11th season of doing this. But it's been such a blessing. We want to thank the schools. We want to thank our partners, CapEd Credit Union, Team Mazda Subaru. And one of the benefits of doing this program is we also want you to sound off on the issues that matter to you. But you want to talk about an educator. And I've mentioned in my past life that I taught school briefly, substitute taught, got my degree in secondary ed. And the other day I had someone reach out to me from the past. It was very odd. It was my best friend in college, and he said to me he forgot that I went into education. And it was funny because people have influences on your life, and maybe this has happened to you. This is the young man that influenced me to go into education. Hey, go into teaching, you can make a difference, great benefits, job security, and the like. And for me, I was getting ready to continue on as a journalist, so just the power of personality, I got my degree in education. He goes, man, I forgot all about that. So, just as a lesson about difficulty in life and how people can come back out of really nowhere, and why education, as Lou Dobbs says, is the great liberator. Just had a friend of mine who continues to teach, and this is the not-so-young man I was telling you about, and he said, hey, I just had a former student of yours. And I go, huh? And when I was student teaching, I had a person that really didn't like me as the mentor teacher. It was a bad experience. Good mentors can make great individuals. It's so crucial. Today it's about positive reinforcement. It's not about judgment. But my guy didn't like teaching. He yearned to retire and didn't want anybody eclipsing the spotlight. So he was very restrictive on me. In fact, my academic advisor said, look, you should, try to get another, mentor teacher or something. But I stuck it out. Not a lot of people knew it. So this was a long time ago. And one of my students that I had, it was a middle school class, is a parent now. So he goes to my buddy, and he sees some stuff, and he goes, hey, do you know Mr. Miller? And my buddy goes, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He goes, he was my teacher, my student teacher, and he made such a profound positive influence on my life. And, again, this was, I student taught for 3 months or something like that in Ohio, and it was weird. I'd kind of put that behind me, like my military service, and I thought to myself, well, what can a student teacher do? And he said, no, he inspired me, and this guy's a parent now. And like I said, my buddy reached out to me and told me about this, and it just really underscores the value of reinforcing education, of working with the kids, whether they're kids in the neighborhood, whether they're your relatives, whomever. And just, again, showed me what a difference anyone can make. And very humbling. So that's one of the reasons why we're here, the only program in the nation where we proudly go to schools and promote kids, teachers, parents, and the community. Courtesy of CapEd Credit Union and T Mazda Subaru. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And proudly here in Nampa, thanks to our great friends, we've got the jazz band rolling. And so appreciate the folks at South Middle School for having us here. By the way, social media is such a part of our lives. We've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. If you're looking for something entertaining and kind of multitasking, which is what all of us do these days, go on to Twitter if you're on the Twitters, or as some people say, tweeting or twitting or whatever you want to call it. Grant Peterson calling it Twitter. However, if you jump on to @KevinMillerShow, I'm currently embroiled in a controversy because I said Donald Trump is doing a great job, and progressives and liberals across the country are currently pummeling me on Twitter, which I find very entertaining because I think the president is doing a great job when it comes to borders, security, safety, and you would not believe the folks that are disagreeing. That's @KevinMillerShow on Twitter. Okay, now back to what matters. Let's go to Liberty Linda with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. I was just talking with Ray, and I think Ray should call into the Kevin Miller Show. I thought that was a good idea. Anyway, I just wanted to call in this morning and say that I'm very, very excited about what our President Trump just did, about moving our embassy to Jerusalem, the heart of Israel, and it being just before Christmas. Oh, and by the way, Kevin, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, and isn't it nice that we have a president that proudly proclaims Merry Christmas and brings it back?
I was so excited when I heard him say that. So many times, you're at work and where you work, they don't allow you to say that. And I know through the years that, and so you go out shopping, go into a store, and you're even afraid to say Merry Christmas to someone else because, they're not allowed to say it back to you.
Well, what type of country do we live in when all of a sudden we don't want to offend people, so we don't say Merry Christmas?
Well,
is that freedom of speech? Is that freedom of religion?
Oh no, it isn't. And it's so refreshing to have a president that that's what we celebrate at that time of year. We don't celebrate really anything else. But yes, Merry Christmas means a lot to us.
Well, those little things make a big difference.
Yes. And there would be one other thing I'd like to say this morning is, yay, go Napa Middle School.
Yes, here we are at South Middle School here in Napa, and the band is having a good time, the jazz band.
Oh, I know. I can hear in the background. And we love our schools. We love our children. And thank you so much for going to the schools so we can get acquainted with each one. I think it's wonderful, Kevin. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Liberty Linda.
All right. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 25 after the hour, KIDO Talk Radio time. Let's get you to...
Religious freedom versus LGBT rights. That's the dispute the 9 justices of the U.S. Supreme Court are now deciding. This morning's argument centered on Jack Phillips, a Christian bakery owner from Colorado, and the same-sex couple who approached him to make their wedding cake. He declined based on his beliefs, but offered to sell them other pre-made items. Phillips argues that he is an artist and that the government cannot compel him to endorse any particular viewpoint. Charlie Craig and David Mullen say his refusal left them humiliated. Justice Kennedy appeared today, as he often does, to be the swing vote in this case. A decision is due by June. At the Supreme Court, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
And there we have it. There we have it. Shannon Bream giving us the top trending cultural story, which is getting a lot of attention. Rights versus religious freedom. And I was amazed how much this story has gotten traction. Of course, we brought it to you first yesterday before the Supreme Court heard it. Let's go back to the phones here at KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Blair. Blair, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I am enjoying the show here, and you?
Well, I wish I could be there enjoying the show. I've got to go to work, so.
I'm with you, brother.
Hey, I just wanted to, I hate to disappoint Liberty Linda, but there was a publication out yesterday where Trump is going to sign the same waiver that every president for the past 20 years has signed with regards to the moving of the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. So Trump made the announcement, and then I guess said, and some of the other political leaders of the region said, hey, this is a really bad idea. Don't do this yet. So I think we still have to wait on that one for a little bit longer before it happens. So just wanted to clarify there.
And I thank you for that. And actually, I said that he was moving the Capitol early this morning, and this is what happens when you get on the air without a few cups of coffee. But let's take a look at this, and we do have it's supposed to happen in a couple years, where they're going to move the embassy, and the reaction is just incredible. Now, Blair, you're saying that he signed a waiver, but again, we're hearing it's supposed to happen in a couple years.
Yes, but the reason why he signed the waiver is because there was a law passed or there was a proclamation or something passed under Bill Clinton where the U.S. was going to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, unless the president signs a waiver doing so. And every president from Bill Clinton on has signed that waiver. Now we find President Trump has also signed that waiver. So whether or not they move the embassy, the bigger issue was whether or not the United States recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And so, moving the embassy is is I still would love to see them move the embassy. I still would love to see them declare Jerusalem as the capital. But I think this is one of those things where we need to wait until it actually happens before we get too excited about it.
Well, you'll take the front page of Drudge, and you've got the Arab folks and everybody just going crazy. You've got Erdogan and everybody else. Hold on, let me see if I have this. This is either President Trump or President Erdogan. Let's take a listen here, Blair.
Jerusalem, Mr. Trump, is a red line for Muslims. While the wounds of the Palestinian people continue to bleed, while there are daily violations of rights, oppression, making a decision like this to support Israel is not only a violation of international law, it's also a heavy blow to human conscience.
So he's moving the embassy, but he's still going to recognize Tel Aviv as the capital. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, we just don't know yet. I mean, that's what I'm saying is that because he signed the waiver, he can basically do whatever now. If he had not signed the waiver, it commits the United States to recognizing Jerusalem. Now that he signed the waiver, and you could say he's leaving his options open. Yeah, okay, I could see that. But the waiver, the signing of the waiver basically means that instead of being forced into a certain course of action, now he's taking his cards off the table and putting them back in his hand.
Well, here we have it. The president is expected to officially announce the policy changes today at the White House.
Great.
And here you go.
Like
That they will recognize Jerusalem as the capital coming up today. Now, maybe that takes a few years to actually move the embassy. They're talking 4 years, but apparently that's the way it's going to play out.
Well, like I said, that's great. I'm just questioning, if that's going to be the case, why would he sign the waiver?
Oh, that's a good point, Blair. We wish you could be here. Sorry you have to go work for a living, but hopefully we'll entertain you on your way to work.
Well, you do a great job of that, and I appreciate everything you do, Kevin. So you have a great day, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Blair. And to our friend Sandy, yes, we'll do our best to give you the time in traffic when you need him. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio from South Middle School in Nampa. Let's find out what's happening in your world. Good morning, Maggie. And we're joined by Steve Garner, the band, orchestra, jazz band director. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Boy, an impressive group of young musicians you have here.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, they work hard. We practice a lot. Yeah, they're good kids.
I think we're a little disappointed that we're not going to have that the rest of the show. It added a little spontaneity, a little life to the program.
Yeah, no, they got to go to class and I got to teach. So,
well, how important is music education to you and to the folks here at South Middle School?
Oh, man, it's huge. And that's, I mean, obviously I'm a little biased, but I think that music is one of those things that keeps kids coming to school, keeps kids wanting to be here, and develops different skills than some of the other classes do. Not that they don't all have their place, but, kids learn perseverance. They learn how to make mistakes, and that's okay, and to continue trying, continue working, and it's just a huge factor for kids and people.
What brought you to music education?
Music education, really. I mean, growing up, I'm a product of the Nampa School District myself, and I was in band at West Middle School with Mr. Stone and Nampa High with Mr. Bill Kennedy, and I loved it. And I decided that, man, that's what I want to do the rest of my life is music. And so I went to Boise State and got a music education degree.
What does it mean for you as a product of the Nampa school system to now be a keeper of the flame?
It's a pretty cool thing. Like I said, Bill Kennedy was my director at Nampa High, and he was still here. I took over for him, and so that was a pretty cool deal for me. And to keep that going and keep music strong and active in our public schools, and to see the difference it makes, like you said, with these kids already, it's just a huge thing.
Well, let's continue on with this, by the way. Steve Garner, our guest, Kevin Miller here at South Middle School in Nampa. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We always talk on our show about the format, thought always being in jeopardy. You deal with this all the time in music education, where people say that it's it's an elective, it's not necessary for education. How do you respond to that?
First and foremost, I really haven't run into that, to be really honest. I hear
across the country where they're canceling music programs. I don't mean to interrupt.
Right. No, you're fine. I just don't see it as much as people say, and I hear about it here and there, but I think people value music, and as I look around, I see that people want music in their schools, communities want music in their schools, and so that's the first part. The second part, when it does happen, which it does from time to time, it's just sad to me that these kids are going to be missing out on that life-changing experience, I think, because it is life-changing, and it helps them to grow and progress and be better people and be more well-rounded. And
how does it help the thinking process? Now, you're talking to a guy who's tone deaf and looks at people that are musically gifted with envy. So it does rewire you a certain way, does it not?
Well, music, you're using both halves of your brain when you perform music. You're doing physical things to play the instrument. You're mentally thinking about the music. You're using your oral skills, your listening skills. You're doing all of those things all at the same time. I was talking to my orchestra kids yesterday, and I was telling them, okay, do this, and I was talking about their bowing, and so they have to bow in the right directions while they push their fingers in the right spots, while they play with the notes at the right amount of time. So you're just using so much of your brain at the same exact time that nothing else really does. And just like I had a kid, he was a IEP kid. He was in special ed and when he first started, and now as an 8th grader, he's been removed from there. Now he's in the normal general ed classes, and while nobody said this, I firmly believe that a big part of it is that he's been in music for 3 years now. So
this is your life's work.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to see kids go, especially at the middle school level, because they grow so much from 6th grade to 8th grade, both physically, emotionally, and then also musically, and it's huge.
Most people in their life, they don't get to do their dream.
Yeah, it has its ups and its downs, as you'd imagine, teaching and behavioral issues, and there are days I go home and I think, man, I'd rather just go work at Lowe's right now, and then other days I think, man, I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. So,
sure.
So yeah, just like any job, we all have our ups and downs. So
sure. Anything else you would like to share with us here at KIDO Talk Radio? You've got the Treasure Valley listening to you, sir.
Well, I just encourage everybody to support music education, to encourage their kids to participate. The Nampa School District has fantastic music programs, as represented by our last District 3 marching band results. And as well as if you go to any concert in the Valley, you'll see great music programs, great band directors, great orchestra and choir directors. And so I encourage everybody to support music ed, get their kids involved, make a donation, whatever you need to do, and let's keep music education alive in the Treasure Valley.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank you for all you've done. And one more final thought. When it comes to living your dream, whether you're 15 or 35, what do you say to people that may have a dream and they, like a lot of folks, they aspire to something but might be insecure about it? What would you say to inspire them this morning?
I would say your mind is a powerful thing, and if you believe and if you work hard and you try, that you can do it. We're teaching a lot about growth mindset, and growth mindset is you can grow your intelligence through effort. And so putting forth that effort, you gotta make that first step, as they say. But believe and do it, and you can do anything.
And you teach that to your kids?
Absolutely.
All right.
Every day.
Mr. Garner, thank you.
You bet. Thanks for having us.
Let's go to Hank in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Hank. Let's go to Jim in Boise. Jim, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, Kevin. I'd just like to verify what the band director said. I had been in band all my life, and especially when he mentioned he used the word perseverance. And boy, I'll tell you, you persevere quite a bit. I went, in band in high school and college. When I got out of college, I was out of band about 8 years, and then I was wondering, is there such a thing as life after band? And I decided there wasn't. So anyway, you get out of band after you get out of school. You can get into community bands. When I came here to Idaho, I got into Shrine Band. We play for circuses. So anyway, I mean, being in band.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? You played for a band at the circus? How does that work?
Well, if it's a good circus, the circus comes here. The shrine, it's a shrine circus, and then they, I guess, it's donation for the shrine during the summer, and there's usually 6 performances during the summer on 3 days. And the band just basically plays before the circus as the people are coming in. And we play marches, and, I mean, it's great. It's just fun music. And then playing music for an activity is, to me, more fun than just playing in a concert. But so your music goes for something, And you might be in parades, and, I mean, music's just a great thing.
I don't know how you can do that marching band and play the music and either march in the parades or do all those crazy stunts they do at the football.
Well, you're basically in parades and marching when you're in school. When you get out, you don't march. But, I mean, it's just my theory on football is football was invented so that bands would have something to do at halftime. So anyway, I mean, band is a great thing, and I just say hurrah.
Well, and that's what we're about, being for things. Thank you, Jim.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Appreciate you. Let's go to Hank, who's back at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning. I might point out that Mueller could be very much compared to the infamous Soviet prosecutor under Stalin, Vyshinsky, where basically justice was weaponized. And when they went after the old Bolsheviks, come in at Zinoviev and Bukharin, and made them confess the crimes that they didn't commit. And like the case of General Flynn, when you threaten to go after people's family, his son, which they did with Flynn and the Strobe, and go and do the things, that was what they used to do in Stalin's older days. They would go.
You're comparing the special prosecutor to the Bolsheviks?
I'm comparing exactly that. The same kinds of tactics, the weaponizing of justice for political ends. Your republic or your democracy ends when justice becomes politicized, and this is a favorite tactic of the left of all shades, is basically to use the judicial system as a political weapon. And
well, you could say that for well, wait a minute. You could say that for years when we're talking about cases that have gone before the Supreme Court, when we're talking about cultural differences in America. You don't like a law, you don't like this, you take it to court, and we've seen that in the past 8 years, have we not?
We have seen it. And Mueller, and the case can also be made about Mueller, is the fact that you could make a special prosecutor on the special prosecutor. He knew. He knew he was very dirty as the FBI director. He basically gave Hillary a pass when he had information coming in that Hillary was doing what she was doing as an informant, and he chose not to ignore it. He hired this Strobe, who was involved in the interrogation of General Flynn, who basically, against all the rules of the FBI and also the Justice Department, had a mistress, which was supposed to have been dismissed. He obviously knew about that and withheld that information from Congress. I think Mueller, instead of being Mr. Clean, the Time magazine played him up to be, The Week, which was the other Bloomberg political magazine, played him up as the cleanest man this side of the West. He's very dirty. He's very political and he's very dirty. And both him and his friend, the ex Comey, and I think that we're seeing an example, American style, just what Stalinism is all about.
Hank, we appreciate you listening and your insight at KIDO Talk Radio.
Well, thank you, and bye.
Bye. More coming up next. We'll find out what's going on with our friends at CapEd next. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And here he is, back once again. Todd Christensen joining us from CapEd Credit Union at South Middle School. Good
morning. Good morning to you. Good morning to the listeners here on 580.
A lot of energy.
Great. It's awesome to be here. Great to hear the band here, the conversation around the importance of music. And oftentimes we have conversations around STEM. And I think the music instructor here shared the value of adding another letter to that of A for arts and activities and athletics to make that STEAM, to be able to power youth forward with more understanding, deeper appreciation for the arts, and the opportunity to use arts as a way to train the brain.
Well, and it was nice that they gave us a little concert this morning.
It's always great to hear the youth and their skill and their ability.
I really like that, and we have such great high schools that, a few that stick out noticeably, Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
They always do a great job, and I don't know if we can actually have what we had here with the nonstop. I really like that, where we had the orchestra and the jazz band playing, so a great model. We learn something new every time we come to a new school.
And I think that's the value for us of CapEd, or we see that as the value as CapEd, being able to be out in the community, be with the schools, share with the community the great things that are happening across the entire K-12 or pre-K through 12 and beyond within the great state of Idaho.
Let's talk a little bit about the school grants, $10,000.
We have 4 $10,000 grants that are at the school or district level that's available through the Idaho CapEd Foundation. With the continued growth of CapEd throughout the Treasure Valley and really throughout southern Idaho, our foundation continues to grow, and our foundation board made a decision to provide $10,000 grants, 4 of those, and those are available, again, for schools and districts. Individuals can learn more about that at capedfoundation.org, and the deadline on those grants is coming up here pretty soon, January 15th.
And let's move on, the gift of savings.
Gift of savings. We're in the financial institution or financial world, and we see a lot of people who don't necessarily have well-equipped experience. They haven't had the opportunity to be exposed to financial literacy, and we have taken the opportunity for this quote-unquote holiday season to have the gift of savings for 6-month and 12-month share certificates or certificate of deposits, and we've increased those rates during this holiday season. So parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, those who want to help encourage youth to save, they can put those gift dollars into a certificate of deposit and see them grow over, again, those 6 or 12 months.
And we continue on. Let's go to traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning here with Todd Christensen of CapEd at South Middle School in Nampa. WeLoveTeachers.org, one of my favorite sites.
It's a great opportunity. It's a partnership between CapEd Credit Union and the national organization called Donors Choose, and this is where public school educators have an opportunity to post projects. Typically it's a classroom project, but we also see school projects. And if you will, it's the crowdfunding for the education community. And we as CapEd partner with them, and WeLoveTeachers.org is a place where individuals can go out and make contributions or donations and help fund specific classroom projects. And then in our notion of it's more than banking, it's making a difference around engaging in the education community. You don't have to be an educator to join CapEd,
sure.
But if you're wanting to support education, come out and engage in our products and services. One of those that we have is our high-yield checking. Earns a greater dividend on the balances in the checking account, but as you meet certain qualifications, you can choose to either get 100, or in the spirit of giving in the holiday season, you'd be able to give 200 in gift codes or support a classroom project on We Love Teachers. And again, those are projects that are listed across the entire state of Idaho.
CapEdFoundation.org. Again, if you're interested in the school grants, WeLoveTeachers.org, and a new branch coming the 21st in Meridian.
We are currently open at the South Meridian Road and Overland Road, just on the south side of the interstate, with what is our 9th branch, or we will have 10 branches as soon as we open up the one in Twin Falls. Invite everybody to come out and see this new model. We'll be there on the 21st, being able to broadcast live and share with your listening audience a different approach. As we have looked at the branch of the future, we've removed that barrier, what is often recalled as the teller line, created pods. A lot of people have shared that it feels like I'm in an Apple store, and that's something that we're seeking to have that interaction with our members, with our customers as they come in, help them with their financial needs, whether that's a quick deposit or quick withdrawal or a more complex financial transaction, a mortgage or a car loan or even a business loan.
Todd, thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Fox News next.